All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is AC's Conversations.
AC's Conversations is about sports, music, TV, movies, and more.
Everything and more.
Everything is ready to go.
That include the latest news and rumors, along with interviews with the biggest names in sports and entertainment.
This
is AC's Conversations with your host,
News 8 Sports Director.
The man is the real deal.
Let's go to work, fella.
Anthony Calhoun.
We turn our attention now to the Indianapolis 500, here to break down everything for the month of May. Let's welcome in our driver analyst once again with us. As I mentioned before, 11th straight season here, a part of the Wish TV family. Graham Rahal in the house with us. I want to ask you this, man. You're getting ready for your 16th start in the Indy 500, man. Time flies, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's gone by in a hurry. You know, it's hard for me to imagine 16 years. It goes by this quickly. Obviously, we still have to qualify, but we should. All things considered as a team, you know, I feel very confident going into this month. I feel like we have identified a lot of areas of weakness, and I think that we'll be a lot better off than we have been, or certainly last year in qualifying at the 500. Our cars were not competitive, and so hopefully this year we'll be able to turn that around. But 16 years has gone by super fast. You know, had a lot of good runs at Indy, but haven't won it yet. Yeah. Clearly, and so hopefully this one's the lucky 16, I suppose.
All right, so we talked about this, about how this year has been so competitive. As a matter of fact, to start the INDYCAR season, we had 27 full-time drivers, which is unheard of. That hasn't happened in like over a decade. And now you look at it right now, already 5 races, 5 different winners. Give me your take. Where do you assess the series right now? Best you've ever seen?
Well, here's how you got to assess it. You got a guy in Scotty McLaughlin who won the last race and qualified 16th?
Yeah,
or 18th yesterday?
Yeah, he was in the top 10. Yeah.
And so that sums it all up. You know, you can be on top of your game one weekend, go to the very next weekend, and you're not even in the hunt. And so it is exceptionally competitive right now. And you know, me, I qualified 8th, but I missed P4 by like 0.06 of a second. You know, you're not going to see that in any other motorsport. And so, you know, I think it's pretty tremendous. It's very, very competitive. It's as good of a field as you'll find all over the world.
Yeah.
And Indy's going to be the same for the 500. I mean, the gap, the front row is going to be nothing. You know, top 15, 20 is all going to be within a mile an hour. I mean, it's going to be very competitive. So we'll see.
All right, you know, we talk about the 5 winners. Take a look at the screen right here, and 5 different winners already this season for IndyCar races. 5 races, 5 different winners, and who knows, probably it's going to be the same case. We'll probably have 6. I know Graham hopes that's the case for the Indy 500. 6 different winners for the start the season of IndyCar. But you look at those names right there, and we haven't even mentioned Scott Dixon's name on there. You know, he's won this championship 6 times. And
yeah,
so,
what I do see on there is 2 Penske names, 2 Ganassi names, and I do think those guys certainly have been the class of the field so far. Yeah. McLaren had a great weekend this past weekend. Obviously, we at RLL had a great weekend, so good momentum there. You know, but I would say they won it last year. I would say going into you know, this sort of month of May, the Indy 500 now, you know, Ganassi is probably still going to be the standard. So your boy Scotty Dixon's going to have a good shot here. And I know last year he was arguably the guy to beat without I think it was pit lane speed penalty. That doesn't happen. I'll bet you Scott Dixon has his 2nd ring on today. So we'll see. I know he's hungry, but, you know, like I said, we're hungry too. And I know we can be in contention. I know we can run up front and hopefully be able to do so.
Well, if you're based off this weekend, you guys should feel pretty good. What's been really cool, though, for a lot of these open wheel racing fans and IndyCar Series fans is what we've shown you here on Wish TV and the CW, this docu-series, 6-part series, 100 Days to Indy. We heard all the noise about it back in December. Then obviously the first episode took place a few weeks ago. And man, it has been must-see TV, 9 o'clock Thursdays, right here on Wish TV. For a fan, media person, what's it been like as a driver, been spotlighted in this docuseries, man?
Well, it's been actually, these guys have been great. Now, for sure, they're definitely there all the time. So you have to be a little cautious. Like even in the engineering room, they're there like constantly.
Really?
Oh yeah, mic out and everything. So you have to be a little bit careful with what you say sometimes, particularly on the details like that. But from a filming perspective, like whether it be, our episode, which was last week, or whatever's to come, I do think they've done a great job kind of being fly on the wall. They haven't really, they've scripted nothing. They haven't said, hey, we need you to do this or say this or whatever. So it's been really great in that, from that perspective. And for us as a family, I mean, I think, my girls enjoyed it, and Harlan definitely enjoyed going to the aquarium out in Long Beach for the race weekend there. We had a good run there.
Yeah.
But I hope that it gives people a little bit of an insider view, a little more in-depth. You can connect with the drivers and the teams and things like that more. And of course, you're going to see the intensity really build up now that we're, at Indy for the 500.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody, you can watch it Thursdays, 9 o'clock, right here on Wish TV. Every Thursday, we have it for you only here on Wish TV from 9 to 10. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll put the spotlight on a driver who was featured in that episode that night. So make sure you tune in every Thursday, 9 o'clock here on Wish TV. All right, so I want to ask you about this, though, because there's a lot of storylines going into the 500 coming up in a couple weeks. But one storyline has to do with a guy named Tony Kanaan getting ready for his final Indy 500.
If we can believe him.
I know. It's changing for him. If it is his final one, it'll be his 22nd overall for him. He won it back in 2013. What has he meant to the 500, but in racing in general?
Well, TK, he's a close friend, too. And so he's as good as they get, not only as a driver, but as a human, as a fan favorite. And I think he has a lot to offer to the sport outside of just driving. And so, again, I thought a few years ago was going to be his final start, and yet he's somehow managed to make 5 more of them or something. But look, he's going to be very competitive, and I'll bet you the McLaren cars are very fast, and if they're fast, he's going to be one of the top dogs there. Period. I mean, he will be. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get it done at the speedway, and he'd be a great champion. I mean, obviously, selfishly, I want to get the United Rentals car in victory lane more than anybody else. Yeah. But if it can't be me, he's a great pick. And he'd be a great, career send-off.
And when you think about him, just the legacy and the impact he's had on you personally.
Yeah, huge. As a young guy coming into the sport, I mean, he was extremely intense, the first year. But I always joke with him that we're Lebanese brothers because we're both of Lebanese descent. And, he's just been an amazing guy to be able to lean on over the years, to ask questions of, to give advice. And then has become a very close friend, honestly. And so we're both gearheads to the biggest extent. So he's a frequent customer out of our performance shop, which I definitely appreciate. Yeah. But TK is absolutely a legend of this sport, whether it be his championships, whether it be all the race wins. And we're certainly going to miss him. But as I said, I think he has a lot more to give. When the career is done, when racing does come to an end, whether it be TV or working within a team, there's a lot more for TK to do here.
Graham Rahal is gearing up for his 16th Indy 500 next week. He's been professionally, how about this, racing for nearly 20 years. Graham is in the final year of his contract with Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. I talked to Rahal about the big decision on the horizon for him to continue to race for his father, join another team, or possibly walk away from racing for good.
The fire is still burning hot. It's not like it's done, and it's not like I want to move along. But there's a lot of things that you've got to consider when it comes to that. But first and foremost, I mean, my intentions and my goals are to keep going in INDYCAR at least for a few more years. But I've got a couple little girls and I've got a lot of other things going on in life, and so you've got to make sure at all times that your heart is completely set in it. And right now, I certainly do feel that way. But we need to be more competitive too.
Discover more at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to follow and subscribe to the AC's Conversations podcast and others on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Connect now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.